Hello, and welcome back to Queens of the Paddock and F1 podcast. My name is Alex,
And I'm Courtney
and we are back again
again
to
for
talk
take two.
about, I know, take two, to talk about the Miami Grand Prix.
Yeah,
And it was so exciting. I was so happy to have gone. Missed you, Courtney, but we had a really good time.
I know. And we're all jealous, but we have Coda, so we have that to look forward
Yes,
to.
for
And
sure.
I was thinking next year we need to do a Europe trip, just us
We need to
two.
do a Europe trip. We absolutely need to do a Europe trip.
Leave
We
the
need to
husband.
figure it out. Yes, we need to figure it out. We need to plan this
hmm
because I was thinking that the whole time when I was in
Just
Miami. I
saying.
was like, we need to go. Like we have to do this. It would be so much fun. So I'm thinking we should do like Italy or something because I really want to go to Maranello
I do too,
and
except
do
for I'm
that.
literally going to Italy in 3 weeks.
I know, I know. So if you don't make it to Maranello though, like that's definitely
Yeah,
on the list. So we'll have to like decide, okay, so either there or like I don't know, like what are you thinking? I'm thinking either like
Belgium.
Belgium Spa.
Spa.
Oh my God, done.
I'm
That's what I
thinking
was gonna
spa.
say. I was gonna say spa.
Yeah. I think it would be awesome to go there.
Oh my God.
We can
We
get
could go
some
for like a
strip
week.
waffles.
Yes. Oh my God, Courtney.
Or Baku.
Or Baku, Baku. Yes, and we can go see the mud volcanoes
And
and the
the
hillside
land
on
on
fire.
fire. Yes. Okay.
Okay, done.
On to Miami,
Done.
but we need
Yes.
to, yeah.
Okay, so it was such a good weekend. I admittedly the race was a little bit boring.
So boring. It's the second race in a row that has been boring. And I literally
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna need something. Qualifying gave me more than the race
Yeah.
gave me.
There was definitely more action in qualifying
Yeah.
than there was during the race, which interesting, I thought. So this race was one of only 13 in all of F1 history, like since F1 started, that did not have a DNF.
Really?
Yes.
Even Nick DeVries didn't have a DNF. And I feel real bad for him, but he is on the chopping block. He has
He's on the chopping block.
3 races to figure it out.
Yeah. Wait,
What?
did someone say somewhere 3 races or
Yeah, I was reading something they said by the
oh,
Spanish Grand Prix, which is in 3 races,
ooh.
that
Yeah,
they,
and
yeah,
we've talked about this before. That organization, Alpha Tauri and Red Bull, just
yeah.
the Red Bull family is so cutthroat. Like, I'm not surprised. But yeah, all day today, I've been seeing rumors like this morning, it was Daniel Ricciardo is getting fitted for like a seat in the Alpha Tauri. And could he potentially replace him? And then Alpha Tauri actually came out and said that it would be Lawson that would replace him if and when he needs to be replaced.
Yeah. You never know, though. I mean, you already have Ricardo, and you never know. Like, I'm just saying,
Mhm.
I think I named him, or you named him, I think he was going to be the overrated one. Or
So
did I
I
say Oscar
I
was going
think
to be? I can't remember.
so I think I had good vibes about him. I thought he was going to come out swinging.
Oh, I didn't.
Whenever we did our like preseason episode, like
Mm-mm.
I had way more hope for him than what's panned out. It's really sad. I feel sad for him.
I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, it's
Yeah.
literally one of those things that's like either put up or shut up. Like,
Yeah.
you come in, you have to earn your spot. If you don't earn your spot, you're gone. Like,
Right.
I hate to say it. Even Yuki this year, Yuki hasn't crashed nearly as much as he did last year. I don't even think he's
Mhm.
had any crashes this year,
No, I
actually.
don't think he has.
And
And
he's controlled himself a lot more
yeah,
like in emotions. And on top of that, he's landed himself in either P10 or P11 almost
every
every
race.
race. And so it's
Yeah.
like, he's not doing bad. He's not doing
Yeah.
great, but he's at least being consistent
Yeah. No,
versus
and it's
Nick
funny
isn't.
because I think at the beginning of the season, everyone was kind of like, oh, well, Yuki better get it together because like Nick is going to come in and just like overshadow him and all
Hmm.
of this. And it's been really the complete opposite.
Yep.
Like Yuki's
Exactly.
stepped up to the plate. Nick is just nowhere.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Oh my
Gosh.
gosh. But okay, so we'll get into it, but I mean even at this race, like at the beginning first start of the race, he ran into the back of Lando Norris
Yes, I saw that.
and like pretty much ruined both of their days.
Oh, I
So,
know. Yeah. But before we get to that, let's talk qualifying because it was way better.
yes. Yes, let's talk qualifying. So, I'm
What?
like, where do we want to begin? Because the way the qualifying ended was heartbreaking.
It was crazy, but that's why I love F1. Well,
Yeah.
first of all, I want to talk about in Q3,
Hmm.
Lewis Hamilton. I don't even know what he was doing. Like, either A, he wasn't paying attention. I don't know if whoever he was coming up on, like, didn't get out of the way, but he literally, like, ran into the wall. Like, he ran into the wall and had to, like, go into the pit lane and change out his front wing, but I
Hmm.
couldn't figure it out. Like, and ever all the announcers are like, did he not
What just
see the
happened?
car? Like, there was literally a car right there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I think he thought like maybe they get out of the way. I don't know. I was just like, what are you doing? Which then led me to the fact of he got knocked out in Q2, which
Hmm.
this is the lowest position he's ever like started a race in the US at. He hasn't started less than I think like sixth or something on the
At a
grid
US race. Yeah.
at a
No,
US
that
race.
was shocking.
Yeah. Like there was no reason. I think even Mercedes was like, "What's going on?" Like there was no reason for
Yeah.
him to get knocked out in Q2.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. There was qualifying, like you said, I mean, it was super, just like the whole grid was so mixed up and there was so many like people out of their regular starting places
Mhm.
on Sunday for the race because qualifying was so crazy. And I think a lot of the drivers were saying too that the track itself was really slippery, like especially the beginning of the weekend. And so we were seeing all these incidents like
Mhm.
Saturday, Friday and Saturday because they were trying to rubber in that track. I mean, it's not a normal track that gets driven on.
Mhm.
So I think that had something to do with it too.
I
But
mean, Charles wrecked in on Friday
I
on the
know.
same turn.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And it was so sad because all weekend, like obviously they don't go out and like repaint
mhm.
that area. And so all weekend you could just walk by and see his little track marks. Like
Oh,
I was like, there he was. Poor him.
I know.
Oh,
Gosh.
terrible.
Which leads us into literally Q3.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone put down like decent laps in Q2, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Haas, Kevin,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was like shocked. He did great. But then it leads us into Q3 where I think, I think maybe only two or three people even got flying laps in Q3. And
Mm-hmm.
then Max actually was doing a flying lap in Q2 and he like went wide and kind of lost it and he had to like abandon his flying lap, which then Charles crashed, I think, on turn 7.
Yeah.
Literally like flew off the track with less than 2 minutes left in the session and then they literally ended it. And I was
Yeah.
just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I was surprised they didn't just red flag it and then like, but I guess there wasn't enough time for everyone to come out and then warm up their tires and still have a flying lap, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know. It was interesting that they didn't restart it back up. And I thought we were going to see more like anger from Max on that. But
Hmm.
he actually took credit for, or not credit, but he took, what's the word I'm looking for?
Ownership?
Yes, he took ownership of that because he said he didn't get it. Like he didn't put his lap in when he should have.
Yeah.
early enough. And so I thought that he was going to come out and blame Charles and say, like, oh my God, you ruined my day and whatever. And he
But
was
how can
like,
you blame
no, it's
Charles?
on me.
Yeah, but things happen. That's the
Right.
whole thing of the sport. Like you can't control when there's a
Yep.
red flag. You can't like
Mm-hmm.
anyone can run into anything and ruin anything, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But being at the race, like were you near where that happened or like were you just real confused on like why
What was
everything just
going
kind
on?
of stopped?
So we were sitting pretty much on the straight after that turn.
Okay.
So there's like turn 7, 8, and then it kind of goes around. Then there's turn 10. We were in between turn 10 and turn 11
Okay.
on the straight, which was a DRS zone right there. So we saw a lot of people like overtaking throughout the weekend, like on that where we were sitting, but we had a screen in
Mhm.
front. So I saw it happen on the screen and I was like, nah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Well, at
Yeah.
least you weren't like, remember when we were at Coda and our screen kept going out
Mm-hmm.
and Lance ran into, I think it was Alonso or Vettel or
Mm-hmm.
someone or whatever last year, and like we're all like, what happened? What
What
happened?
happened? What
Like
happened?
we
What's
had
going on?
no idea what was going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
at least you knew what was going on.
Yeah. No, I will say, and I'll talk about it some more, but that our spot was a good spot
Okay.
for this weekend. And I did some research before I picked that spot, so I'm glad that
Uh-huh.
I did that because I was happy. It was pleasantly not I wouldn't say surprised because I did the research, but I was
Yeah.
very very impressed with the spot and I thought it was a good choice. So,
Yeah, 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 for
I
sure,
would sit
for
there
sure.
again. It was
So,
good. Yeah.
okay. So anyways, back to qualifying. So
Hmm.
Checo starts pole again.
Yeah. And the crowd went wild.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I feel like everyone
Insane.
really likes Checo. And
Hmm.
like I feel bad for him being Max's teammate. Because
Yeah.
he's a good driver. I feel like he give like good energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Hmm.
I was happy for him, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, that
So,
was great.
yeah. So that happens. And then I guess that leads us into the race where everybody is all jumbled up.
Hmm.
And it was just so weird. Like even
Yeah.
the start of the race, I was like I felt like everybody was a bit like tiptoeing, like wasn't being as aggressive as like usual. Because I wonder if they
I
were
would
all
agree
just
with
like
that.
they were like, "Ugh, I don't want to cause like a whole thing."
Right, right. Well, and I think too, there were so many people that were up at the front, like you had Kevin and P4 and the Haas and um, all these people that don't normally start up that close. And it's
Hmm.
usually like Max, Charles,
Checo,
Checo,
Carlos,
Carlos, Alonso. Like
Russell,
it's
yeah.
very predictable.
Hmm.
And so I think they were like, okay, I'm gonna play it safe because I don't want to have any issues at the start because I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to maintain my position like as much as I possibly can.
Hmm.
So everyone was super careful except for Nick DeVries.
Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah.
true. But then
But
what
yeah.
was like I don't know how I felt about also Red Bull's strategy of putting Checo on the mediums and then
Mhm.
Max on the hards. I
On the
kind of
hearts,
was
yeah.
like, mm, why wouldn't you just put them both on the hards? Like if you were like you know what I mean? Because then you could have undercutted every like the whole field. You could have gone way longer. Everyone would have pitted and
Right.
then unless they wanted to make sure that one of them placed, but I feel like that's not very much Red Bull style. Like
Yeah.
they don't
So
play the card of like let me just make sure one of my cars places. Like they expect both cars to do well.
to do well, yeah. And so I think too, like because that question was asked of like Christian Horner and the team, and really they were like, we couldn't start Checo on a hard tire because at the start, like when you're trying to get going, the hard tire is going to take the longest to warm up and like really get the
Yeah,
traction.
but
But I think on
again,
this track, it didn't matter. I think on this track, that hard tire was the best tire to be on.
No, but
And it's so hot already. Like, it
yeah,
probably performed like a medium or a soft in another colder track. I mean, it was
yeah,
so
yeah.
hot. It
But
was so
even
hot.
still, my thing on it is say you lose three positions on that track, right? There's
Right.
three
I
DRS
know.
zones. Red Bull clearly has the straightaway like advantage. And on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, you could have like been towed by the like if Charles had passed you or
Right.
Alonso or someone had passed you, you're gonna get past them. So again,
Yeah.
I still don't fully understand like why the decision making there, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I think there's not even a conspiracy. Like, I think it's pretty much like a widely known, like, they're going to favor
Max,
Max.
yeah.
So he gets the better tire strategies. He gets the better strategies in general from the team.
Hmm.
You know, because, like, to your point, I mean, Max started in P9
Yeah, and
on a
if you
hard
wanted him,
tire.
yeah, and you want him to jump up and do well and move through the grid, then you would have put him on a medium tire,
Right.
technically, right?
Or like McLaren started both of their drivers on a soft, which was insane. Like, and
Yeah,
clearly not the move,
yeah, yeah.
especially again on this track with the like that ate up their tires. The heat on this track ate up their tires like immediately.
Hmm.
But I mean, he was able to get into P1, right? After, or like P2 at least, after like 14 laps. Like, when did he pass Alonso? Wasn't it
Oh
lap
yeah,
14?
yeah, something like that. You
14
know,
or 15? Like, clearly that hard tire heated up fast enough for him to make up nine positions, eight
Exactly,
positions,
exactly.
whatever.
So sometimes
So,
I wonder, like, if they would have put them both on the same tire, what would have happened? You
what
know?
would have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Question.
argument to make.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I guess it
So,
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I know. And then, like, while we're talking about tires, so a lot of people have been criticizing Pirelli because Pirelli chooses the soft, medium, and hard for each weekend, right? So, like, there's always going to be a soft, medium, and a hard,
Hmm.
but there's different compounds. So, like, C1 through C5, I think.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
they can choose from all of those for the weekends. And so a lot of people have been criticizing their choices of what they're pulling to use for the soft, medium, and hard
Hmm.
because it's making it to where these races, like, it makes it easier on the tires with the compounds that they are choosing.
Hmm.
And it makes it to where the races are a one stop race pretty much.
Yeah.
And the pit stop is a huge part of the race that can either make or break you.
Hmm.
So when you get more pit stops, you have just more opportunities for error during
Or
those.
like, or being successful at it, right? Like,
Right. Oh, for sure.
like
Yeah,
double
you either
stacking
get
it
it.
if you
Yeah.
double stack your team right, or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. But so, I mean, just the pit stops in general throw a huge wrench into it because it's like, when are we going to pit? How many times are we going to pit? Like, which tires are we going to pit for? Like, what are
are
we
we gonna,
starting with?
yeah, are we gonna do it before somebody else
Right.
pits? Or, yeah,
Right. And then
exactly.
you have your pit crew, like, are they going to mess up? Are they going to forget to put a tire on?
Yeah.
Hashtag Ferrari. Like, I mean, that just um, it throws more wrenches. It throws more into it. And so people are really like calling out to Pirelli to like make the choices of, I guess, softer compounds so that they have to pit more
Hmm.
throughout a race rather than just getting away with a one stop.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So,
Yeah.
but
So it should be
honestly,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, besides that, there was like nothing. I feel like there was
Yeah,
nothing happened.
I know. It's like literally the only penalty was Sainz getting that 5-second penalty for
For
speeding in the pit lane.
which he was totally speeding.
He was
Like,
totally
did
speeding
you
in the pit
see
lane.
him lock up and all the smoke? I was like, what are you
Yes.
doing? And
Yes.
even with a 5 second penalty, he still placed ahead of
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, and like it didn't affect him really because at the end of the race, Lewis, I think, was P6 right behind him, and he was more than 5 seconds after him, so it didn't even mess him up or whatever, which is, a good thing. But I'm like, that was literally the only penalty. Um, I will say though, there was a lot of like on track overtaking. I mean, a
Yes.
ton of overtaking,
But
which
I
was
mean,
fun to watch.
oh yeah, especially like watching Kevin and Charles, like
Oh my
that
gosh,
was
yeah.
actually a lot of fun to watch. And
He
like
was
Kevin
he was
wasn't giving it
keeping
up.
up. No,
Yeah.
he was keeping up with that Ferrari, and like that was wild to see. I mean, like Charles would pass him and then Kevin would pass him right again.
Mm.
And then when Max passed both of them at the same
Oh,
time,
it's
like, and it
because they
was just
were
like
because they were too
y'all
busy
are
dealing
playing
with
with
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Max was like, "Oh, you're not even paying attention to me, and I'm just gonna blow
It's like,
past
I'm
you."
just gonna, excuse me, guys. I'm just gonna come right by here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So that was fun.
oh yeah.
Um, okay, I will say too, what was very heartbreaking and depressing to see
Hmm.
was how much Logan Sargent struggled
Oh, I
during
know.
this race. And like it was just awful for him. I can't imagine. I mean, he had all of his family there, all of his friends.
Hmm.
He in one of the interviews he did before the race said that he had something like 100 plus people that he knows asking him for like passes to come to the race because I mean he's literally like
Yeah.
he's from right there, so all these people are like, oh my god, I want to come, like get
Yeah.
can you get me in? And so he's got all these people there and just had a horrible weekend, but like I don't think it was his fault. I really don't. I mean, I don't think he could have done anything
Hmm.
better or different. It was just sad. I was like, oh, that's
It's kind of like
sad.
Charles. I feel like they
Yeah.
just had a crap
It
weekend,
was just
and
not, it was not their time. It was
yeah,
not their weekend.
and it just, I mean, it happens. It happens to
Yeah.
literally everyone, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
And then two McLaren struggled like majorly. I mean, we talked about Logan, or I mean, not Logan, Lando getting hit by Nick.
hmm.
Um, and then both of them ended up pitting because, like we said, they started with the soft tires and that just wasn't going to work. So
Hmm.
they had to pit super early. And it was really funny to watch. I mean, not funny, but it was like, because you don't see the time difference when you're watching it on TV as clearly and as obviously as you see it when you're at the actual track. And
Yeah.
so everyone from like Checo at the beginning to whoever was in like P16 was bunched up like
Hmm.
very close to each other. And then it was to get to Logan was over a minute.
Oh
Like he was
God.
behind over a
Yeah.
minute. And then when the McLarens pit in, it was like you would get this big group of people coming by and then like a good 45, 50 seconds. And then the three of them would be like, "Meh,
Oh my
meh."
God.
It was
Oh.
so sad. I was like, oh no, poor babies. Like,
Oh
this
my
is
gosh.
awful. Yeah.
McLaren needs to figure it
Yeah.
out.
I know. I know. And it was crazy because, in Baku, they did a lot better.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like they brought some upgrades, like we're seeing improvement, like this is gonna turn around for them.
Yeah.
But that just doesn't really seem to be the case. So
Yeah. So, man.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But again,
Um,
of course, Max wins.
I know. Max wins, Checo second place,
Lonzo third.
Alonso third, so that was great. Um, I do. Okay, so while
Oh,
we're
I was
talking
gonna.
about,
I
okay,
do have
so
another
oh, go
question
ahead.
for you. Sorry, but
Yeah.
this is more about your thoughts of the weekend and experience wise. So before the race, they essentially did like a walkout where the
Oh my
Miami
God.
Dolphins
Okay, wait.
cheerleaders.
Wait,
What?
I want to get into that. I want to get
Okay.
into that. I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay, let's talk about that walkout because that walkout was something and
Okay.
choices were made
Time
and
out.
I don't know if they were good ones.
Okay, so time out. For anyone who did not watch the pre-game show, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever this was.
Okay,
Yes.
essentially what happened was just like a football game. They
Mm-hmm.
were on the track. They had this big old like backdrop thing. The
Mm-hmm.
Miami Dolphins cheerleaders,
Mm-hmm.
dancers, whatever the hell they're called now, were lined up, and LL Cool J
Mm-hmm.
was standing there announcing every driver out of the tunnel or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And they had to
Yeah.
individually walk down, and it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen on TV.
Okay, two, you also had Will I Am conducting a literal orchestra. And I found out after the fact that the song that the orchestra was playing was actually like orchestrated by Will I Am and like premiered for this specific reason. Like
Okay.
he conducted this song and produced it. And I mean, it just crazy. And yeah, like they had that whole setup literally on the track. They had to build it up on the track because
Hmm.
they, and I don't know, like the timeline of, well, I do know the timeline, but I don't know who thought it would be a good idea because drivers came out, they did warm up laps, they had to go back into the pit, and while the drivers are all getting back in the pit, they had to build this structure that literally went over the track
Hmm.
on the starting grid and do all of this stuff, this whole fanfare show, whatever, smoke machines, fog machines, whatever, all this stuff. And then they had to break that down so that the drivers could actually like start the race.
Well, you know, it's also interesting. Only one driver liked it.
Only one.
Only one.
Only Lewis Hamilton,
Only
who
Lewis
was
Hamilton.
who was hugging LL Cool J. Like
I
it
thought it,
was
oh, it was
so weird.
horrible. I'm
It was
sorry.
awful. It was
It was
awful.
so
And then
bad. And who does that? Is so not F1. Why are
no,
we doing this?
well, I
Like,
think they were trying to make it like more like for the Americans because I guess like we're
okay, well, I'm an
allegedly used to
American.
that. I'm not.
Okay,
I wouldn't expect that.
okay, I'm an American, and that was trash. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, you cannot make a sport that is not American based American. Like
No. Like
you're ruining it. Like just
yeah.
stay out of it and just go with the flow.
Just let it be what it already is, which is already great on its
Yeah.
own.
And
Um,
hence why now the US has 3 races.
right.
Like it was fine before you did that. Like you
Yeah.
don't need to why fix what's not broken is my view.
Exactly. Well, and I was just thinking, like, as that was going on, I was like, what are all the European fans like
Oh,
watching this
like
at home, looking at this, being like, what have they done to our beautiful
well,
sport?
I don't even know if it was broadcasted in Europe that
Oh, that
pre
portion.
yeah, because
I would think.
no, it was literally a whole nother like name when I was watching it on TV. It was like
Uh,
name something 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 F1 Miami. And
yeah.
then literally when the race start, it was like the Miami Grand Prix. But it
Huh.
like if you watch the races here in the US beforehand, we never see any intro over there. So if there is something that happens, we would never see it, right? So I
Yeah.
wonder if they didn't see it, but I'm sure they saw it all over social media.
Yeah. No, but and then I feel like I would have to go back and see on the like F1 TV if
It
it's
wasn't
on
on
that.
F1 TV
Oh, it wasn't.
because
Okay,
I was
okay,
so
okay.
confused for a little while. I
Yeah.
was like, Austin was like, it's on. And I'm like, the race isn't on. What are you talking about? And I like come downstairs and
It's
he's
like part
watching
of the
this trash.
pre-race or grid,
Yeah,
whatever.
it was 2 hours. It was
I know.
the whole thing was 2 hours before the race. And I'm like, what is
Yes.
this?
Well,
It
and then
was,
even us, like we got so confused at the track because like the drivers parade that happens before the race
hmm
was I believe at like 1:30 ish.
hmm
And that's usually about an hour before the race starts. So I was like,
yeah.
okay, like the race starts at 2:30.
hmm
But it was actually like all of these festivities and all this different stuff started at 2:30 and the race did not start until 3:30 over
Ah,
there. So like I made everyone like I was like run like we got to go sit like I want to be at the driver's parade whatever. And so we're sitting there And then I realized looking at the schedule, I was like, oh crap, like the race doesn't start till 3:30. And like now we're sitting in these seats like 2 hours ahead of time. I'm like, do we want to go walk around, like
Yeah.
get some drinks, get some food, whatever. So we ended up walking around and doing all that. But yeah, we were back in our seats by the time this all started. And I was like, what is happening?
Ugh, it was such trash. I was so
It was
disappointed.
it was ridiculous. And then some of the stuff they were saying, like to announce some of these drivers, like Yuki, he was like, he might be small in stature, but he's a great driver, like something like that. And I'm
Well,
like, if
and
I
one
was
of
Yuki, I'd be like, excuse me, like, did you just call me short? Like,
well, and on top of that, there
what?
was one of them that got injured, and it was like something about being a dad, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, why? This is it was
I'd
so
have to go
bad."
back and watch him. I know the other one that stuck out to me was when they were talking about, or they brought out Esteban
Hmm.
Ocon, and it was like Esteban Ocon was Pierre Gasly's childhood friend turned rival, now teammate or something. And I was like,
What?
what?
Yeah,
I'm sure he appreciates being announced as Pierre Gasly's friend. Like,
whoever
you
wrote those
know?
is an idiot.
And literally, it was not good. I think like pretty much everything that I've seen online, the only person that liked this was Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else, which I don't blame everyone else. They were like, look, it messes up with their like rhythm of what they do. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
And it was
I
right before they were getting in their cars. Like, it was
mhm.
so, no.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was so hot out there for them to have to be like fully in their overalls, all their
Yeah.
stuff, walking around, parading around, waving at people. Like I totally understand why they would hate this.
Yeah.
And Fernando Alonso made a good point too of, you know, why are we doing this just for the American races? Like our other fans are
They better not
just
do
as
this in CODA.
important. I hope they don't.
We need to start like a Twitter thing
A
on Queens of
petition.
the Paddock
We need to
and
start a
like
petition.
start a petition to not have that at CODA.
Yeah, we don't want to see it.
No.
We don't want to see it.
CODA was
And
great the way it was last year.
yeah, so another thing I read about why they wanted to do that for this race is that a ton of people that were at this race like as spectators in like watching it in Miami know literally nothing about F1. Like they
Oh
just
yeah.
go because it's like an event.
It's the thing to do.
Right. And so they were like, "Oh, we need to introduce all these people because like they have literally no idea who any of these people are." And
That's
I'm like,
not
"Then
my
don't
problem.
go.
Yeah,
Don't
that's not
go."
anyone else's problem. Like,
Right. And
you
like there
don't
was
need
a
an
program
introduction.
that was handed out at the
Yeah,
door. Like, read that.
yeah. Or if
Familiarize
you're
yourself.
spending so much money on this ticket, I guarantee you there are like plenty of people being educators in the Paddock Club.
Yes, hire us to go
Yeah.
educate.
Yeah, we'll go educate. I'll have a champagne in hand and let me tell
And
you
I will
who's
tell
who.
you all about it.
Yeah.
Literally all about it.
We need to bring like we need to
That's what
become
needs to
like an
happen.
F1 advocate, not advocate, what's the word? Like an F1
Like an agent, like a experience
no, like what do you
manager.
call the people like that represent the US? Ambassador. We need to be
Ambassador.
F1 Paddock Club ambassadors.
I'm here for it.
Yes.
Oh my
In the
God, we could
US.
totally educate, talk to all the paddock
And we
guests.
could do it. We would be really great because we could do Texas and Florida because you
Yeah.
speak Spanish. You're
Oh,
fluent, and we can go
done.
both ways. I'm
We
not,
can do
but
it.
I mean, I'm ready for everybody else. So,
I'll take all the Spanish speakers over here and I'll give you a little rundown.
yeah,
We're going to talk to you all about who all these people are so you can
exactly.
understand what's going on without us having to introduce them with LL Cool J.
Hmm.
Thank you.
And pick someone better than LL Cool J.
Yeah, it was an odd, like Will I Am I get because I feel like he is into F1. Like I've seen him at a lot of the races,
Hmm.
like being interviewed and stuff, but LL Cool J, I'm like, was he just around? Like what? I don't know.
You could have done Vin Diesel, and he would have done a better
Vin
job.
Diesel. Vin Diesel would have made more sense too because he was there. with Michelle Rodriguez because of the Fast and the Furious that their
Hmm.
new movie's coming out.
Yeah. You know, they also, I think this was the race they did a few filming scenes before for the new F1 movie.
For the Brad Pitt movie.
Hmm.
So I had like on news about that. Did you see that Brad Pitt is going to basically be like he will be driving on the F1 weekends
Yep.
after like Silverstone onward to film scenes for this movie, and they're gonna
Yes.
put him in an F2 or an F3 car.
Yep.
Um, and then I guess they're gonna do something like post production to make it look more like an F1 car.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
But
yeah,
no,
I
I
mean
think
he's
that's cool because
yeah,
I think he's going to be the only person without enough points to have a super license.
yeah, yeah. There was who was it? I think it was Colton Herta.
Hmm.
Remember that McLaren was trying to get him last year, but he didn't have enough super license points for them to bring him on.
Yeah.
He tweeted about that and he was like,
Oh, yeah.
damn, Brad Pitt got his super license before I did. Like,
Yeah. Oh.
which was funny, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Um, okay, I also want to talk about Martin Grundle's grid walk. Martin Brundle's. Oh my God, Grundle. I was trying to say grid. Martin Brundle's grid walk. I don't know if you got to catch any of that.
No, I didn't. I was too busy watching the train wreck on the US channel.
Oh my gosh. So it was hilarious. So last year, he like pretty famously grabbed this guy and was calling him Patrick Mahomes at
Mm-hmm.
the Miami Grand Prix, and it was not Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, gosh.
And he like he didn't know, but this so that happened last year and he got like roasted for that. But the guy who he thought was Patrick Mahomes is actually Paolo Banchero, who is
Hmm.
an Orlando Magic basketball player. And he
Oh.
was there again this year and he grabbed him and he was like, Paolo, Paolo, nice to see you again. And the guy was like, oh, so nice to see you too, because it was like a whole thing last year. So that was funny.
Oh, my goodness.
Um, and then also like Tom Cruise was there, Shakira was there, the
I feel like
Williams
every
sisters were there.
who's who celebrity
Oh
was
my
there.
God, for sure. Like, yeah, you had Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk was there.
I know.
So many celebrities, it was just like crawling. But he saw Tom Cruise and he was like walking by him and he was like, well, I was specifically told not to talk to Tom Cruise. Martin did.
Oh.
Um, and then it was also funny because Jackie Stewart, like, so Martin was trying to talk to Roger Federer,
Hmm.
but this was like down at the end where they were doing all this whole grid presentation situation, and Martin Brundle actually wasn't allowed to go over there. Like they had blocked him off and he didn't have access into that area. And
What?
so yeah, I know. It was like show some respect. Like, do you know
Yeah.
who he is?
That's what I was like. Yeah, see, this is another thing that just
They-
irks me
right.
about the
These
US stuff.
organizers, we need to be like, I don't know. I might have to write them an email and say, hey, like, let me offer our services. Like, we really want to be like consultants for you so that you understand, like, who
What to
Martin
do and
Brundle
what
is.
not to do.
Right. Right. You want to keep these people happy. But so, anyways, they wouldn't let him over there. And he grabbed Jackie Stewart because he was standing there and he was like, Jackie, can you get over there? And he was like, I don't know. And so he literally walks over. There's security trying to like get him out of there because he
Hmm.
apparently wasn't supposed to be there either, which is like, he's hugely famous in F1. Like, how are you not going to let him? You're going to let Roger Federer. But so he ended up grabbing him and bringing him back out of that area to have an interview with Martin Brundle, which
Oh
was
my gosh.
hilarious and super funny. But I thought that was interesting and good. Oh, also too, which this kind of ties into one of the news things I had, but since we're talking about Martin's grid walk, during that time period, like when he was talking with people on the grid, he grabbed Michael Andretti
Hmm.
and said, "Hey, like, how's it going like with your bid to join F1?" and he told him that Andretti was going to be submitting paperwork this week for their grid entrance, and that they hope to hear back by July. And so Martin asked him like, "Oh, it would be for 2026, right?" And he goes, "No, it's actually for 2025."
What?
Yeah. And I was like, "See, this is why you need Martin Brundle talking to people, cuz he gets the tea and the gossip and all the information."
Oh yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, I thought that was super interesting. Um And he also mentioned that, I mean, because Martin Brundle was like, 2025, like that's a lot of work to do. And he goes, "Oh yeah, we're already working on it. We're already building a team." So them and General Motors, Cadillac.
Yeah,
So
but are they going to add to the grid or are they going to somebody on their way out?
he was talking about an 11th team. So
Hmm.
we'll see. Remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, I was interested to hear that by July, they're already expecting to have
An
a
answer.
an answer back. So that was cool, I thought.
Oh yeah. Except
Yeah.
for if you're dumping all this money into it right now and nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
But I guess we'll see.
So, okay, let's get into like actually being at this track and kind
Okay.
of like what our experience was. So, I mentioned before, I did some research on
I
like
was
where
gonna
we
say,
what?
you get like a 4 minute. You gotta
I have to
condense.
condense. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I mentioned
Because
before.
I'm like, this isn't this. We'll have our full conversation tomorrow, but the condensed one, remember?
Okay, yes, for the masses.
Yes.
So I will say, I recommend going to this track. I had a great time. There's been a lot of talk on the internet about the prices. Yes, it's expensive. It's Miami. Everything in Miami is super expensive. But I think, if you want to go and it's a track that you want to visit and a place you want to visit, like it's definitely worth it. I thought our seats were great. We were in the family grandstand, is what it's called. And they, like, when I first saw this on the map, I thought it was like you had to be family members of like a driver or something, like to be sitting there.
Oh, I think of family. I think of no alcohol.
Right. Well, so you can bring alcohol because it's not like you can't drink in there, but
Yeah.
there was more, like it had more shaded areas. So like there was actual seats, like a chair seat, not
Hmm.
like a bleacher. And it was less rowdy than like the beach grandstands. So we had sat in the beach grandstands for a minute last year when we went, and that was like a full on insane party. Like people were tossing drinks at each other. I mean, it was crazy over there.
Oh
So this
gosh.
was definitely like tame,
Yeah.
but shaded area. It had a cover on it. Screen right in front, really good speakers, could hear everything. Seats in a like an actual chair.
Hmm.
And then it was situated kind of next to an area that had a bunch of food, like where you could, like, little food stand area, you could go get food real quickly. There was bathrooms that were right there. Drink stand, like all of that stuff was right there, just close by. So highly recommend that. Like I said, there was a lot of overtaking on that part of track.
Hmm.
So I think that was a good spot to be in. I was very pleased with it. Um, I also want to talk about the paddock being inside the stadium.
Yes.
So, one thing I really like about this track is that with any ticket, like even if you just did a general admission, like campus ticket, you can get into the stadium, the Hard Rock actual stadium, and there's millions of seats in there. I don't even know how many. So you could sit inside the stadium and watch the actual race on the big, huge stadium, like Jumbotron screens from
Hmm.
there. Which I wouldn't. I mean, if you had general admission and you don't want to be standing like watch, you're there to watch the cars on the track. So like, let's not do that. But if you needed a place to sit down and like get some fresh air, it
Hmm.
was nice and cool in there. But what was really interesting this year is that they put the team paddock and like all the team hospitality areas were inside the stadium.
Hmm.
So you could go in there and like at any given time, like you could see drivers, people from the team like walking around in there doing interviews down in
Oh,
there.
that's kind of cool.
That's yeah, that's the picture I sent you of or the little video of Charles was jumping rope behind
Oh, I was trying
the
to figure
Ferrari
that
thing.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw him, we saw George walking out of there once at one point. I'm
That's kind
sure
of
I
cool. I feel
prob
like it gives the
yeah,
average fan more access to
access, a
them
hundred
without
percent.
like disrupting their like
Right.
schedule, you
Yeah,
know?
because they're carrying on down there doing their thing
Hmm.
and you're up above watching. And so it was that like general everyone had access above like level 300 and up.
Hmm.
So the levels that were lower towards the field, towards the ground, that was actually part of the paddock club. So if you had paddock club access, you could get down in there and you're in the same general vicinity but like closer.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really nice how they did that.
Okay.
And then another thing that's cool about the stadium being there is even if you're like not in the stadium sitting down watching on the screens or whatever, like you can go on the side of the stadium, like where you would walk up to get to your seats.
Hmm.
And it has a really nice view of the whole entire track. Like you could stand there, kind of like how that observation tower was
Yeah.
in Austin. So it's kind of the same idea. Like it's really tall up, and you could just see around the track from there. So that's even another spot that you could watch the race from.
Oh,
So
yeah.
honestly, I'm like, if we decide to go next year again, I would probably just get the general admission
Hmm.
because there's actually a ton of areas on the track that you could watch from. And they had a lot of general admission areas that were kind of on risers where you would stand. And
Hmm.
initially, I thought it was like a handicap section, like if you were in a wheelchair or something, like you could go up there because they had ramps and stuff. But it was actually open to anybody. Like you could just get up there and stand there and watch from there. So they do not let you bring chairs how they do in Coda. There's
Really?
no chair, yeah, no chairs allowed. No
See,
backpacks allowed.
oh, see, I don't know if I would like that having general admission and not having a chair. Because, like,
Yeah.
even I don't want to stand. I don't like to stand for
Right,
long periods
right,
of time. So it's
right,
like, I don't know. I think I would go opt for a seat then because of that.
right. Yeah, because of that. But then too, I did see a lot of people, especially on race day. Like there's a ton of different areas to eat and hang out and like almost like club vibe
Hmm.
areas like throughout this track. Like the setup and the layout of everything that's going on around the track is insane. Literally,
Hmm.
like there's so many different things to do. But people were dragging chairs from like different eatery places
Yeah.
and like kind of hangout spots, and they were bringing them and planting them right there, and no one was telling them no.
Yeah.
They were
I don't.
like, whatever,
I think as
you
long as
got
you're
this
not causing a
spot.
ruckus, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. Um,
So
but yeah.
overall, would you pick Coda or Miami?
Oh man, that's really tough because I say I don't know. I mean, we had such a good time at Coda. We had
Mhm.
such a good time in
You
Miami.
gotta show, you gotta tell our viewers though,
Yeah,
like
okay.
your
So
honest opinion.
honestly, the whole total package of everything, I pick Coda.
Okay,
I do.
wow.
I pick Coda.
I was gonna think you were
Um,
gonna say Miami.
no, I pick Coda because I think the track layout I prefer over the Miami track layout.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it also because Coda seems more traditional F1 to you?
it seems more traditional F1. Another thing that I really, really liked that I missed in Miami, and I was like, this to me is one of the biggest differences, is Miami, they do not do one of those fan experiences like how we went at Coda and we got to see the
Oh,
drivers come out and
yeah.
you're like close up, you can get pictures, they ask them questions, all of that stuff in that amphitheater. And they do that at, I'm pretty sure, like almost all the other tracks, they have something like that. They do
Yeah.
not do that in Miami. Um,
Instead,
which
they do
is,
a trash walkout.
yeah, which to me, I'm like, it's kind of shocking because I feel like it was a missed opportunity to even have them in that paddock area
Yeah.
doing, questions or whatever. But I kept on checking the schedule. I never saw that. I never like heard of anyone doing it. I didn't see pictures from it. If they do it, I am not aware. I was definitely trying to be there because I wanted to see that.
Well, yeah, because we
But
had a lot of fun doing that.
yeah, no, that was like one of the highlights,
Plus, it was on
of that
Friday.
weekend.
It's
Yeah,
not even like it really interferes that. Well, it was Friday, Saturday, but they split the teams
right.
up, you know?
Right, right. So that was one thing I think I would love for that to be added in
Hmm.
Miami, but it just, I don't know if there's, because they're doing so much other like media stuff down there, I feel like I don't know. Like, I don't know that they have the time with all these celebrities and different people coming in and
Yeah.
whatever. So I think a lot of it's more focused around that.
So
Um,
I was also going to ask you, how was getting in and out of the track?
okay, so getting in and out, I would honest. Okay, so we had a parking pass. I bought a parking pass. We drove my family's car
Hmm.
and parked there, and then it was about like 3 blocks away from the parking lot to the entrance of the track, and there was a ton of people that had either those like golf carts
Hmm.
or the little bicycle. I
Yeah.
call them like a tri shop, but I don't know what the real word
Hmm.
is for that. But anyways, they were taking people from the parking lot to the entrance. And so we opted to do that literally every day because we're lazy and I was like, I don't want to walk. It's hot out here. And the first day we were with my parents, so like I was like, I don't want them to get worn out just walking
Yeah.
from the parking lot to the entrance. So I was like, we need to conserve energy. Like we'll just do that. Which that was great. I mean, it took 2 seconds to get from the car to the track. Leaving was a literal nightmare because
Worse
especially
than Coda?
like see, I'm so far removed from like when that happened. I don't remember it being that bad, but I do remember it being bad
It
leaving
was
Coda.
bad. And our bus driver missed the turn.
Yeah, no, you're right. So I think when we do Coda this year, we should probably try to get a parking pass and
That's what
then
I was thinking about because
I think it's worth it.
it was a cluster going to that high school and oh, that was such a
Yeah, doing the
cluster.
shuttle. So, and I had read like pretty much everywhere that the shuttle system in Miami was like not great. And then everyone, like hands down, everyone was like, do not Uber, which
Mhm.
I will say. So on Sunday, we had my sister with us, and she's not necessarily an F1 fan.
Mhm.
She enjoys the event and the hype around the event. She doesn't follow F1. So she was having a great time at the event. There was this little champagne tent by, it was called Piper.
Mhm.
And so she hung out there, had a blast, but then she wanted to leave, and we were still there watching podium celebration, all of that. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to Uber. She ended up having to walk literally 3 miles from the entrance of the track to where the Ubers were picking up
Oh my
because they
God.
do not let the Uber pick you up like there or anywhere. Literally 3 miles. She had to walk.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So she was not happy about that. And
Well,
I
good to
like I
know if you ever
heard,
want to go to Miami though. Like,
yeah, no,
do not
everyone
Uber.
says like do not Uber. And even what's crazy is the F1 Miami like website literally says like we do not recommend Uber or rideshare
Mhm.
services like to and from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think like definitely parking pass is the way to go. If
Okay.
you don't have a car there, they do offer a shuttle, but it I don't know. I can't speak for that. I didn't try it, I didn't do it. But it
Yeah.
supposedly picks you up at the Hard Rock hotel, which is not that close. So you're on the shuttle for probably at least a good 30 minutes, I would imagine.
Hmm.
I don't know, can't speak to it.
Okay.
Another thing that I think Coda does better with is the food options.
Okay.
So the food, and this has been pretty heavily shared on the internet, but they were getting trashed for some of their food options. Like someone posted a picture of what was supposed to be a Wagyu
Philly
like steak
cheesesteak.
sandwich or something, and it's literally a piece of ham like on a submarine roll. Which we did not have that, so I can't really say if that was true or not. But what we did have was pizza.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday, I was like, I just need something, like I needed some carbs, whatever. I was like, give me something simple, easy. We go order cheese pizzas. They come in this box. I hadn't seen anybody eating them. I was like, how can you get a pizza wrong? Right? It's gotta be
Mm.
fine. So pizza comes. If you've ever had when you were a kid, like Lunchables pizzas.
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine the Lunchables pizza crust, but like in a personal size pizza for like one person. I'm not kidding, Courtney. It was so bad. And then like it had sauce and the cheese was melted, but like just barely. Just barely. But I'm telling it was like a supersized Lunchables pizza. I was like, this is almost inedible right now. Like,
Hey,
but I
I
ate
can't.
that whole entire pizza, let me tell you.
I know. I'm like, I can't knock it because we had it at my bachelorette. So we
No,
had
but
Lunchables, remember?
yeah, I know, but like it that pizza and it was not cheap and I was like, whatever, I'm eating it. Like now we already have it, so now we
You're
got to eat it.
committed.
Yeah, we were committed. I do want to say though and give a shout out to this one place that I had really good food. We also got burgers. The burgers were not good. They were out of cheese. It was a whole thing, whatever. But the only food on the track that I had that was good was from this local um I'll have to fill in their name because I took a picture of it, but let me see if I can find it real quick. But it was a croquette um company. It's called Dos Croquetas. They
Oh.
were excellent. They were so good. It's just a local business. Like they had a whole area that was local businesses and doing their thing. And those were really good. We also on the first
You
day
know,
on Friday. Mhm.
speaking of pizza and stuff, it makes me think of, remember at Coda when I bought a whole pizza and it was fabulous?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
The
so good.
food at Coda was so much better. And like we had that what was it? Like the Cajun stuff like the first day I think we ate in that little area. It was either
Oh,
Cajun or barbecue.
yeah. The barbecue place.
It
Yes.
was so good.
Hmm.
So I think what they need to do is really lean into more of the local restaurants because that croquette place was really good. And then on Friday we had some fried chicken that I don't remember what the company was, but it was something local, and that was really good too.
Yeah.
But other than that, the food was not hitting, and it was super expensive.
So long story short, Coda it is.
Yeah, I have to say, Coda. Oh, okay. While we're talking about the prices of stuff, the merch, which this goes for any F1 event, I feel like, but merch that was on sale was so ridiculously expensive. So do not, if you're going to an F1 race, do not get tempted to buy the merch at the race. You can
No,
wait.
you
You can
come
wait.
before or you buy it after.
That's right. And if you wait until after, it's most likely going to go on sale, especially if it's something that is like a limited edition for that race situation. It
Hmm.
will go on sale and you could get it for so much cheaper. So, I will say, like, I was eyeing Mercedes had a Miami edition hat. It's hot pink, super cute. I was like, I want that hat. Every time I would walk by and I would see a merch thing, I want that hat. I want that hat. They had it for $90 at the track. I was like, I'm gonna hold strong. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy it. Came back like yesterday, looked it up on the internet. It's 45.
Oh, there you go.
And it's not on sale yet. So I'm waiting. I still haven't bought it, but I probably will buy that, but I'm telling you it will go on sale. So unless if it's something that you're literally going to die and like you have to have it, just wait because it will go on sale afterwards. Like if you're worried about it selling out, there was like a Red Bull hat that Dustin liked that he wanted to get and he was like, "No, it's too expensive. I'm going to wait." And now he can't find it on the site
Hmm.
just yet, but I'm like, it'll probably come back because he got Coda stuff after like months after the Coda race,
Yeah.
and he paid like $25 for it
Oh.
because it was that much on sale.
Hmm.
So do not be tempted. I fell into the trap. I spent $170 on the Ferrari baseball shirt, and I'm mad at myself. But I'm still happy I have it, but I'm mad at myself because currently right now it's $100 on the website, and it's not sold out, and they have plenty, and I could just have $70 in my pocket if I had been patient, but I wanted it in the moment, and I made that decision. But that's okay.
Gotta
It's
live with
fine.
it.
You gotta live with it. It's gonna be cute. Um, we're already like we're going over. Okay,
Like,
wait.
way
Bef-
over.
Last final things I want to say.
Okay.
So, future for the Miami race, there's been talks about it becoming a night race
Okay.
in the future, which I think would be a good thing to do because it is so intensely hot. We actually got lucky. Like Friday, there was a really nice breeze. It wasn't sweltering. Saturday was almost unbearable how hot it was and how humid it is. It was so hot, and there was a lot of people giving out these little towels, which also highly recommend, like these really thin little like almost like performance towels, and they were soaking them down in coolers and they were passing them out,
Mm-hmm.
and that saved my life. If I would not have had that, I probably would have passed out on Saturday, like no lie, it was so hot. And then Sunday it was supposed to rain, so it was kind of overcast, so it wasn't that bad. But if they were to do this race at night, I think it would be really cool, and I think the like track temperature would be a lot more
Pleasant.
pleasant. Yes.
Yeah.
But my only concern would be getting people out of this track at night, because even at the time that the race ended, and we were at the track until probably like 7:30
Mm-hmm.
because we were waiting for the traffic to die down, and they were supposed to stop serving alcohol at 5:30, and then they just decided that they were not going to adhere to that. And so they kept on serving people, and everyone was having like a huge party. Oh my God,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
so much fun.
Oh
But I'm
my God.
like, people would literally not leave.
Yeah.
Like you would have to drag them out of there. I don't know how they got some of these people out of there.
It's Miami for you.
I know. It's Miami. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when's our next race? Next week.
Next weekend, yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll have to get back together and do our pre-Imola
Yes.
race information, and then just talk about some of this other news stuff, because I'm like, oh my God, we're going over time. I have to cut
I
it.
know. But it was worth it because you
It was
actually were
great.
there, like giving relevant, helpful information,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So hopefully, if you're on the fence about going to the Miami Grand Prix, some of that information will either sway you or make you decide that you would rather go to Coda.
Yeah. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, because we'll be
'Cause we'll be
there. We're so
there.
excited. Yeah, with our little chairs and all of our gear. We'll have to do an episode before Coda with like all the gear that we bring.
Oh,
Because I think
yeah.
that's key. And
We
like
could do
people need to
an
know because we
episode
researched that.
in Coda. Like,
We
I'm
do.
planning, we're going to be hanging out like we always do, and we're just going to be like talking like usual, and we're going to record this.
Yeah, we need to bring all of the equipment and do it.
Yeah, we have the little clip on mic.
Oh my God. And then we should go around and we should interview people.
Oh, just like the people that we saw, like the girl with the boat.
Yes. Yes. That would be so much fun, Courtney. We have to do that. Like people that we like their outfits.
Yes.
Okay. I also saw there was a girl, I'm gonna make us these. She had a headband on, and she, you know those little Pirelli tires that come on a keychain?
Yeah.
She had glued the little Pirelli tires, like a soft, a medium, and a hard,
Oh my
onto a
gosh.
headband, and she was wearing it. And I was like, that is so freaking cute. I'm
Yes.
stealing your idea. We're doing that.
Oh, 1000%.
We need it.
Need it.
Need it, need it. But
Okay.
okay, so let's wrap this one up. Thank you for listening. You can find our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts from. We are on Spotify with video, on YouTube with video, on Instagram at Queens of the Paddock, and on Twitter sometimes when our Twitter manager decides to post stuff.
When Checo
Um,
wins.
when Checo wins, because the Twitter manager is a big fan of Checo, so you'll see a lot of those posts. But yeah, so thanks again for listening. My name is Alex.
And I'm Courtney, and lights out and away we go.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.